to the show.
No, our gasoline's $2.99 a gallon just to make it hurt worse. No.
And we have a $10 billion deficit, so go figure.
Yeah. Who understands?
I go figure.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're all set. Let's
whoa. Where are the ladies? I don't see any ladies.
Delaney's going to be on NFIB. So
yeah, I'm in the background.
Okay.
Well, come on. You're not in the background.
I'm
in the background.
You're part of this show. You don't want to be on camera? All right, let's go.
Thanks, Mike. All right, guys, let's have a good show in 3, 2.
The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Welcome to Coleman Report Live. I'm Bob Coleman, and we're talking Main Street and the small business lenders who help it grow with Lance Sexton, Delaney Sexton. I want to start off today with something I read in the SOP, Lance, which you and I had no prior knowledge. Nothing was telegraphed. I haven't heard SBA publicly say anything about this. I've been to their conferences. I've been on their Connect calls. According to this paragraph, first paragraph out of the box, the new SOP is they're going to certify eligibility. Where did that come from? Well, I know where it came from. But how did that get stuck in there?
Yeah, and guys, it's not effective right now because that was nowhere in any of the information notices that have been released yet. But according to the new SOP, it looks like SBA is going to require us to put information in about the borrowers. They're going to run it across the 19-point data check, and SBA is going to make a eligibility determination on the borrowers. Now, from a guy who works guarantee purchases, I absolutely adore this, Bob, because I don't have to fight any eligibility battles on a guarantee purchase.
But the other side of the coin is we no longer have a PLP program. Is that a harsh statement?
Yeah, I'm not. I mean, there's still PLP lenders, and I don't. This SOP still has many questions that remain to be answered. But effectively, what this is telling us is that because that was, Bob, you're right, that's the purpose of the PLP program.
Right.
Have the knowledge and resources to make an eligibility determination, you can approve your own loans. Now, everybody is going to have to put data points in to run through SBA's 19-point check. And guys, we certainly need some guidance on how this is going to actually be implemented.
Joe, it's on page 13. Joseph, make sure you link it. It's in the SOP. I want to read this. And Lance, this appears it could have been written, and I'm not pejorative toward fintech companies, but this could have been written by a fintech company. Quote, modern applications must use technology to validate applicant data through real-time third-party databases to protect against fraud, identity theft, and ineligibility. The scale of America's small business access to capital needs calls for a solution resilient enough to support an estimated 33 million small businesses who compete in a global marketplace that moves at the pace of a click.
Yeah, the beginning part of the SOP, Bob, reads, it's an interesting opening to the SOP.
Yeah, this is the opening salvo, gang.
I've not seen anything like this before in an SOP, but effectively SBA is telling us they're taking eligibility determinations out of our hands.
Not only that, Lance, but you're absolutely right. Go to the moving forward. Go to the next slide. We're down to moving forward. Moving forward, an SBA lender processing a loan under delegated authority may now accept as true the information provided by the applicant. We've heard that before. And if the applicant eligibility information and certification of same is determined to be invalid at any time over the loan cycle, SBA will not use this as the basis to deny or repair the guarantee.
And it's like I said, Bob, as a
servicing and liquidation person,
it's great news. Once you get SBA's, once they run it through the 19 data point check and it comes out as being eligible, you will no longer have to worry about or fight eligibility determinations during the guarantee purchase process. So it's, but Bob, there's nothing in the SOP that indicates how this changes. For instance, how a PLP lender, they put their information in, so does the GP lender. There's a lot of, when I read the SOP, the only thing I can tell you is
Lance, you're stammering because I am too.
I had more questions. I had more questions than answers.
Yeah.
Many of the SOPs that have been released, I read through it and I'm like, I get that. I understand that. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. And I understand this, but it doesn't talk a whole lot about the implementation of it and how it impacts a PLP lender versus a GP lender. And but I do like the idea that SBA take responsibility for eligibility, because in an SBA loan, when you get to guarantee purchase, the one thing that's going to get a denial is an eligibility issue. Most other things will only result in a repair, but eligibility issues, if you have an eligibility issue, it's a denial. It looks like that's completely off the table.
Which, yeah. And again, as Lance said, August 1st. So this is not here yet.
Yeah.
But this is wild stuff, Lance. This is
i.e. Bob, the very exciting House and Senate committee meetings. I don't know if anybody had a forwarded copy of the SOP 5057, or I'm sorry, 5010-7. They kind of confused me because the 5057-2 is the servicing. Now we have a 5010-7. In fact, Bob, in my initial run at a PowerPoint on the SOP presentation, somewhere in there, I had 5057 in it. But it's very interesting, Bob. This, again, want to point out, this was not in either of the information notices that are currently in effect. This is in the SOP that is in effect August 1st.
Right. And I'm going to make clear, when Lance does his webinar on Wednesday, he's going to address this, but very, very briefly. We're going to focus more upon the two notices that came out where the changes are effective May 11th. This is down the road. Don't lose any sleep over it. I don't want to say there's going to be a modification to this, Lance, but there's certainly, I don't know. I'll turn it over. I'll let you now. I'm still stammering. I'll let you bail me out.
My overall summary, guys, of the SOP is it's going to be hard for me to believe there's not clarifications and changes and new form and new notices right around the corner, because I actually sat on an SOP committee when I was at SBA. The objective should have been to clarify some of this, Bob. Without the implementation information, it becomes very fuzzy for me. So it was a very interesting SOP, to say the least.
Well, my concern is it runs through these 19 databases. I have no problem with that. I don't think anybody in this call would have a problem with that. My concern is timing. If it's instantaneous, great. If it holds it up and there's reviews, then that's a significant impact on the program as we know it today. But that's speculation.
Guys, I'm sorry, Bob. The most important language in all of this is that last two sentences. If SBA makes an eligibility determination, it cannot be the basis for a denial or repair of the guarantee purchase.
That's huge.
Yeah, that is important information.
So we will obviously be on top of this. Question. Thank you, Kathy, for the question. Do you think this includes 912 clearance character determination? Lance, we don't know, Kathy, but go ahead.
It's not even mentioned in the SOP anymore. And of course, the 912 form don't really exist.
That's true.
But
replaced by the 1919.
So I'm wondering if, the same standards we've used in the past, but Kathy asked an excellent question, because character determination is part of eligibility. And they're telling us they're going to do all of the eligibility determination with, computerized processing through various databases, much like they did in PPP 2021. Kathy, you ask an excellent question. I lean toward believing there'll be no character determination requirement after this is implemented. I am just incredibly hopeful that we get some more detail on how this is going to be.
But Lance, I disagree, because the 1920 is still there. In the 1920, one of the items is that you certifying that they're of good character.
Yeah, but I understand what you're saying, Bob, but I'm also going out there. SBA is telling us they're going to do all the eligibility determination.
I understand that, but unless they change to 1920, the lender's still certified. I'm personally certifying that they're good characters. So I don't know.
Like I said, Bob, you and I in this discussion have brought out my major concerns in my first couple of read-throughs of the SOP. There are areas that are still need some clarification.
Well, I think the big picture is this is a great way to go about it. I think from a risk management assessment, if I know that none of these guarantees can be denied because of an error on eligibility, that is huge. And yes, we still have an exposure if we don't take a lien, do something, but eligibility counts for, Lance, I'll give you a percentage, but the majority of the denials.
From a denial perspective, Bob, there are not going to be any denials going forward. I mean, an incredibly limited number, because eligibility is the primary reason for a denial. Eligibility determination.
Do your homework. Read page 13. Lance and I could be completely wrong. We've been wrong in the past. We'd love
to be wrong again. No.
Jot down your notes, but we are living in interesting times for the agency. Now, none of this is, I gotta put this in perspective, this is all interesting. It's not going to shut the program down. The program's not going away. Keep that in mind. But the Senate and the House are really upset at the agency. This is news which is off the charts. And by the way, we have confirmed that Patrick Kelly has left the agency as of Friday. The deputy administrator who testified before Congress had his head handed to him. Now his people are saying that this was a planned departure. I'm not going to, I don't know, and I don't care. I will say on record, I think Patrick did a good job at defending the agency's policies. I'm sorry if he was the scapegoat on this. But there are, I will let Lance weigh in on this, but these are interesting times to be a high political appointment in the agency. I'll leave it at that.
I do agree with that, Bob. I also think that because of pressure from various people, when I see the SOP 50.10.7, Bob, I understand why they haven't released it. It's like they got pressured to release it when it wasn't ready, if that makes sense.
That makes perfect sense, because they said, when are you going to release it? And he finally said either today or tomorrow. And to his credit, it got out that day, May 10th.
And guys, I'm just, it's my personal opinion. It looks to me when I read through it like it wasn't ready to be released. And that's okay. What we have to do as SBA lenders is take what we have, understand it, and use it in getting capital out to small business borrowers.
Yeah, I mean, this is more popcorn feeding stuff. As I said, it's a speed bump for a lender, and lenders are smart and will figure out what we need to do. But these are wild times for if you're into SBA sausage making rule notice procedures. Final word, Lance.
Well, I just think there's a lot yet to come out on, and we'll talk about Wednesday in a minute, but on Wednesday, what I'm going to try to do is just focus on what we know and what you could use. Okay.
Yeah. And that's, we're not going to speculate. I may have gone a little too far. I would say this is the end of, I didn't say it was the end of POP. I said this is jeopardize the
whole purpose.
The purpose of POP. Yeah. So we'll figure out. Let's bring in Delaney. Delaney, what's going on with our economy and small business?
Hi there. So the recent NFIB Small Business Economic Trends Report updated us on some of the credit conditions small businesses are seeing. Now, there were some slight improvements and some good things, such as less borrowers were reporting difficulties when obtaining their loan. It was about a 3% improvement. About a third of small businesses are borrowing once every 3 months, and 30% of all borrowers are satisfied, which was actually their highest reading in the last 3 years. That being said, interest rates may not be looking quite as good. The average interest rate paid on a short-term loan was 8.5%. That increase was nearing about 1%, one of the biggest jumps in a month that we've seen in a little bit. And 26% of borrowers are paying higher relative interest rates than 3 months ago.
Lance, how do you interpret that line in the middle there? Borrower satisfaction increases up a tick. Only one out of three small business borrowers are happy with their credit access situation. That's what I read.
I think it's hard for any small business to be happy with where interest rates are. Now, Bob and you and I have lived in times when the current 10.5% SBA lending rate was much higher than it is today. But I've never had a time in my lifetime where it increased so rapidly in such a short period of time. So, I believe borrower satisfaction, certainly if 1 in 3 is happy, that's, it almost surprises me that it's not lower.
Fair enough. Fair, I'll go then. Hey, Delaney, when you read the report, what about optimism? What was your overall sense of the report of how small businesses feel today? Do you have an idea?
Optimism is not exactly improving. I might just leave it at that. There's a lot of different economic trends and just a lot of different things at play, even outside of credit conditions.
Fair enough. Good. Okay. Very good. Thank you very much. And by the way, NFIB is a great resource. Sign up. It's free. I think to join is minimal also. But anyway, that's my plug for that. Hey, I'm going to show you something pretty neat, Lance. This is the last SOP we did. And if you look at that, the soft copy, but it was all that. The SOP that we're publishing is hard copy.
Oh, nice.
It's the system that we did for California. Look how neat that is. And this is the exact SOP that is in PDF. So we put this up on Amazon. It's actually cheaper to buy it on Amazon than it is to go down to your local copy print Kinko's, UPS, FedEx store and have it photocopied because you get the nice binder. So,
absolutely.
Anyway, that's our plug on that. Very good. I love it. Well, what do you have down at the bottom? You have something different down there.
I was a guest speaker at a conference, and it's my name badge.
Okay. Hey, thank you everyone for joining us today for Coleman Report Live and for supporting America's Main Street. And support Lance's webinar on Wednesday, by the way, on the new SOP and new rules. One entrepreneur at a time. Thanks a lot.